Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shuttlecast. My name is Sal.
My name's Josiah.
My name's Nathan.
And look at us, three amigos here to talk about stuff.
Lots
of stuff. So much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to start with the topic we held off on last week because we wanted Josiah's input on this conversation?
The trifecta. Yeah, I think
are we
should.
talking about something we shouldn't speak of?
Indeed, in multiple languages.
Oh, whoa, yeah. At least 3.
At least. This is sorry. Also, as we're recording this, Letterboxd is like shitting itself.
Yeah.
So our history of what we've been doing is not reliable at the moment.
I know I have to rely on my memory, which is like, oh boy.
What was the point of downloading the app?
I know.
Come on.
Every time I need the app, it doesn't work. But every time I don't need it, it just fills time, like it fills my addiction. Then it's available.
See, luckily, I have a little bit of a narrative with my last week's watch history because I experienced a very similar thing on 3 separate occasions. So hopefully that helps me tie it all together and remember everything I watched.
Oh yeah, good. Because I don't remember what I watched. So we have all watched the original Dutch, Danish. Speak No
Dutch.
Evil.
It's Dutch.
How many of us watched the James McAvoy Speak No Evil?
Both of you did.
I was able to download. I also went to a theater and watched it as well.
I mentally watched it by reading both of your reviews, and I think I got exactly.
I think you watched it. Yeah. I'm gonna say that you are a part of the conversation.
Well,
I've seen the trailers. I've seen the trailers so many times that when I read both of your reviews on Letterboxd, I was like, okay, I know exactly every moment of this movie.
Well, you watched the original, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, of course. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Then you know.
Until a certain point, and then you don't know.
Until a certain point.
Until a certain point.
Yeah.
So,
which I believe I predicted. And we all kind of agreed when we watched the original that they were definitely going to make the ending, pardon me, more upbeat, and they're gonna fight. Yes. They're gonna fight back and possibly win.
So for those who are uninitiated, the Speak No Evil film, the one that's been plaguing your theater screens with James McAvoy's twitching face, is based on a Dutch film that came out 2 years ago. It instantly got picked up. I think maybe it was Blumhouse. I can't tell. My internet's being stupid. And they instantly went to works. Yes, of course. Thank you. It was a surefire bet. They instantly went to work on making an American remake, even though the original Danish film from 2022 is I'd say 70% in English in the first place.
Yeah,
I don't really see the need to.
Pretty much, yeah. Almost everything you need to understand is in English, and anything you don't adds to the paranoia and the uncertainty of what's happening. So it's actually good.
Yeah, exactly. So this was a film that we won't get into spoilers just yet, or should we just for the fun of it? But it's not a very fun movie. It's very anxious, socially anxious, social anxiety, social norms being weaponized, and the ending is just horrific and depressing. And
very brutal.
I'd say the American one, for some of it, is shot for shot, sometimes line for line, and scene for scene, the original Dutch movie. Especially in the beginning when they're in Italy. There's shots where I was like, wow, that is actually just from the Dutch movie.
Yeah, and see, I don't know if it was just my theater, but also there would be these very intrusive ads for a random lottery website.
That might have been just your theater. I told you to never go to Legal, but I mean, you didn't listen to me.
I know. Well, what are you gonna do?
AMC is where it's at.
We make movies better.
That's right.
It'd be really funny if we'll get into this later, but if a certain movie that has not yet secured apparently U.S. distribution, if it only went to Regal and not AMC, that would be pretty funny.
Hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. So yeah, parts of this movie are pretty accurate, but immediately from the beginning, there's a scene that they change where I knew, oh god, okay. In the Dutch and in the American, the main character's daughter loses their teddy bear. So he goes out to go find the teddy bear. And in the Dutch version, he finds it, brings it back. And that's when our James McAvoy type is like, oh my god, you went and found the teddy bear? You searched all over Italy for the teddy bear? You're so amazing. And then our main guy's like, oh wow, I mean, thank you. Oh my god. All right, yeah, I'm pretty cool. Sure. Yeah. And then in the American, James McAvoy was like, hey, I found your bunny rabbit.
Oh.
Like he just did it off screen. And immediately I was like,
Missed the point.
I like that that's the moment.
Yeah. Because again, up until then I was like, okay, it was like pretty much like shot for shot the same movie. And then I was like, okay, well, you missed the point of that scene. So if you missed the point of the fucking simple bunny rabbit scene, what else are you missing? And let me tell you, it's a lot. It's a bit.
It is one of those things where you when you face these kinds of situations, you face these kind of remakes, you're faced with a very uncomfortable question. Did the person who's adapting it pick up on these details, or and choose not to do them because they thought their audience would be too dumb? Or did they not even pick up on these details? You know, it's a very uncomfortable question.
Well, it's very funny because I did read an interview with the director.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Thank you for doing your research.
You know, just it popped into my feed and you know, plagued my screen as the trailer did in theaters for so long.
That's very sweet of you to say.
You know, they asked him the obvious question, not the one where it's, why are you making this? Because, you know, I heard that it was popular and I saw money. But they asked the question of, why did you so drastically change the ending? And he was like, "Oh yeah, you know, the original was great, and you know, I wanted to do it as much justice as I could. I just didn't think we needed two versions of the story with such a dour ending."
That's always that's always the get out. It's always, we want it to be more original. It's like, then why did you remake it?
I'm like, I halfway agree with you. We did not need two versions of this movie.
However, if you're going to do it with more money and like actors, you know, recognizable English-speaking actors I know, you might as well just fucking do the movie, please.
They
could never do it.
So I guess we should just talk about the ending, because honestly, up until like a certain point, they're the same movie, and there's not much. I'd say like I like some things in the American one. I think the James McAvoy kind of actually maybe having a bit more of a doctor background, whereas in the Dutch it was like a flat out lie, is interesting, but like it doesn't really come back. The thing with like her neck pain like never really like paid off at the end, where like she couldn't do something because her neck was spasming. I was waiting for that because I'm like, well, you introduced it and then you did it again, so the third time, and then there wasn't a third time, and I was like, oh, okay, then why'd you bother introducing this like neck pain thing, right? And there were some differences too that I liked. Like I did like the kid being more proactive and trying to like get help because it was more interesting. Not the original wasn't interesting, but because that kid clearly was going through it in a different way. But you know, having the kid like trying to get out of the situation in some degree was cool. But yeah, up until like the moment where the parents basically find out what's going on, then the movie really completely becomes a whole new movie. And I guess we should spoil what happens in the Dutch so that we can then compare it to what happens in the American. So if you want to go watch the Dutch film, it's on Shudder. Go check it out.
Highly recommend. It's
real good. It's a really good movie.
But that being said, Nathan or Joe, take us away, because you can't speak to the American as much as we can, so you should.
I have a mental image, but I'm very, very curious for you guys to explain to me what happens, because in the Dutch version, so the point when the parents figure out what's going on, essentially I'll try to put this in as much chronological order as possible. Essentially, they find the evidence that, it's not that their kid has essentially a disability and that his tongue didn't grow in properly. It was cut out. And the reason they know this is because they find the pictures of all these previous couples with their kids, and then that kid that they had is made their current kid for the next batch, essentially. And this has been going on for like many years, many different moments.
And I think to the point where the kid who they've been seeing as the couple's kid that has the tongue disease that doesn't exist, in the photo they took with his old family, his tongue is sticking out to kind of further the point.
Right. Yeah, they were very good about subtly, showing you. They didn't have to say like, oh, by the way, we actually cut his tongue out.
They have to do a thing where he like motioned scissors in front of his face.
Yes. And so this couple have been who have been graciously allowing them to stay there has been essentially corrupting and abusing these kids and using them as like lures to get more victims. So they discover this. The previous kid is dead, which is bad news because it means, okay, in the cycle they're gonna take take your daughter away. It's horrible. And then eventually, we have our main, our protagonist. He tries to get away in his vehicle. He's low on gas. He fills up, but that gives just enough time for them to catch up. The whole family is in the vehicle, and there are our killer couple in a very brutal display with the help of their babysitter, their thug. Essentially, they chop out the daughter's tongue and take her away. And then they're near the quarry where earlier, we saw that screaming would create no sound. So the parents know who we've been following. They know that, okay, at this point we can't do anything. And then they are forced to strip naked. They ask, why'd you do this? And the response is, because you let me. Pretty chilling. And then they are forced to go down in the quarry, and we as the audience are forced to watch them be stoned to death very slowly. And then the movie ends with their daughter in the back seat holding the stuffed animal that is somewhat the reason that they remained there. And that is a haunting reminder of the fact that it's kind of all her fault, and she is a mute and is now under the employ of these horrible people.
And it'll just keep going and going and going.
It's very stark.
Yeah. And the great thing too about the ending is that the entire time they're not like shoving guns in anyone's faces. They're not brandishing weapons. They're like, when they catch up to the dad, the Dutch James McAvoy is like, please get in the car. Everything will be okay. They're like, please take off your clothes. Please go down to the quarry.
The thing that's very like chilling and just disturbing about this movie is like from when they first get there and they're just in the trap of social nicety to the end where they're being like led to their doom. The couple keeps like pretty deliberately giving them a chance to stick up for themselves and get away, and they're just so pathetic and ineffectual that they don't take it. And you get that feeling that like if they actually tried, this couple would let them, but they're just so in control of the situation that they know they won't.
Like they would be proud if the couple got away.
The way I viewed it is they almost they've assumed this role as like the predatory animal, and so what they've done is they seek to show that manners and that society is corrupt and rotten because they won't even stick up for themselves to survive and save their kid and save themselves, and so they see it as justification for what they do.
Yeah, there's a bit where they're driving to the quarry, and Dutch James McAvoy steps out of the car, walks like a few feet away from the car, and within like the lights of the car takes a piss, and it cuts to our main character dad, and he looks over at the steering wheel, and the keys are in the ignition, and it's like, you could go. If you look up for yourself, you can leave right now. You could drive away. And he doesn't.
Yeah.
Because that would be rude, you know? Surely there's an explanation for all this.
Well, it's that interesting thing where, like, I've had a lot of time now to sit with the movie, and obviously I loved it when I first watched it, but I had these warring feelings in my head between frustration with how frustratingly dumb and just placid these victims are, but also with how much that ending sticks with you. Like, the bit with the daughter getting her tongue cut out is like that left me pretty shook for like a day or two. But now I'm kind of thinking about it, and it's like, you know, it's kind of not the point that you like these characters. It's just that this is something that could very realistically happen. And that's, again, it's with how far the movie is willing to go, that's kind of what makes it stick with you, and that's what makes it special. And so when you take that away, you end up with a pretty forgettable movie.
Yeah, I mean, there may be a version of this story where they do, because obviously, like, there's plenty of stories where people overcome their fear, and they gain their courage, and they overcome these sorts of individuals. But I can't deny that the power of the original is that they don't. So you have to have a pretty compelling change to the story to make it a more, or even just as satisfying an ending, you know. And, you know, that it's depressing, but you know, again, that's what the original succeeded at, is that the power of it was that they kept yielding to the niceties of things. It was meant to, like, kind of illustrate how in real life, you know, it's not to the same extent, but in fiction you have to exaggerate things to a large scale so that you can see on the smaller level how day to day these things happen. Because there's plenty of times through all of our lives where we haven't liked something, but we've put up with it because it's just too much trouble to create an issue out of this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we've all done it. It's just that the movie has to take it to the nth degree, which is what makes it so horrifying, is because we know that there's been points when everyone has done this. And there are those narcissists and sociopaths out there who will take advantage of people's kindness. So, yeah. And I'm really curious. Could you gentlemen elucidate me? Why wasn't the American version a success in terms of how it changed things?
So there are some good changes that are okay. Like when the couple goes to leave for the last time, and they've basically discovered the plot. Like, the little girl got shown by the little boy what happened. She took photos, brought it up to the mom shows the dad, and they're okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here. And they go out to their car, and the car has a flat tire, and they kind of keep up with the social norm thing where James McAvoy is like, man, that's bad luck, you know, I could fix it up for you in a jiffy if you want. And then Scoot McNairy is like, nah, I got AAA, I'm good. And James McAvoy's like, no, why waste all that time and money? Like, I'll just do it for you right now, it's no problem. And Scoot's like, okay. James is like, follow me to my work shed. And so we get the scene from the trailer where James McAvoy turns around with the drill, and it's like spinning. And of course, you know, as Scoot walks in, they kind of try to mirror the scene of the original where, like, he has a chance because it shows Scoot's like standing next to a bunch of like weapons and stuff, and like hammers, but he doesn't do anything. And then they go out and they change the tire, and they're like, okay, well, thank you so much. And then James McAvoy looks up and goes, oh no, the bunny's stuck in the gutter. I mean, you can't leave without the bunny, right? Brings out a ladder. Here, I'll hold it for you. You get up there, big man. You're taller than me. You can go get it. So, you know, we have Scoot going up there to grab the bunny, and, you know, James McAvoy's like, oh, you better not trip. He comes back down with the bunny. It's all fucked up. And then, you know, the couple's like, anything you want to say to us? you've been holding back secrets, and then like the wife kind of goes off about how like she doesn't really love her husband, and she cheated on him, and they have all these things to work out, and they have they've wanted to have a good weekend, but they've realized some things about themselves. And James McAvoy's like, oh, okay, well, that's very honest and good of you to, and that's very like big of you. And they try to leave, and then as they're leaving, James McAvoy pushes the son into the lake, and Scoot gets out of the car and goes and saves the kid. And when they get to the bank of the little lake, James McAvoy has the wife and the daughter on the ground, and he has a gun to the back of their heads. And I was like, all right, you've lost me. It was fine. And then again, once the gun comes out, man, I was like, all right.
Yeah, so it's funny. When I was watching this movie kind of made me think of two other things and phenomenons in film. One is Rogue One, and the other is The Shining. And I'm curious if either of you have an idea of why I would think of those.
Falls apart in the third act.
Sure. Well, the thing. So it reminded me of Rogue One in that this movie goes to greater lengths to explain things that didn't need to be explained in the original. So like, if when we were watching the original and they have to turn around for the bunny, we're all just like, why the fuck would you do this? This is so dumb. It's just a dumb toy. Leave it behind. But again, the point is that these characters are pathetic to the point where they will even just acquiesce to their kids whining. Whereas in the American remake, they like overhype so much. They're just like, oh no, she's got anxiety if she gets away from her bunny, that she breaks out in hives, and oh no, she needs her bunny, can't be away from the bunny. And I'm like, okay, fuck, that's obnoxious as hell.
Not to mention that in the original, when they go back to find the bunny and the dad goes to talk to the other dad, the little girl finds the bunny in the car, whereas in the American, the couple's not son had the bunny.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you kind of undercut the dramatic irony of that scene, but okay.
100%. And the other thing being, and this was so fucking stupid.
Wait, which Shining? The book, the movie, or the miniseries?
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
But the other thing that reminded me of Rogue One was, in the original and a little bit in this movie, the McAvoy character reveals, oh no, I don't work. I don't believe in working. So, if you're a dumb nitpicker and not actually focus on the story, you might go, oh, well, how does he afford the house if he doesn't work? And how do they have all these nice things? And luckily, the American movie is there to show you that once they have the family captured at gunpoint, they're very focused on getting them to send all their money that way. And it's like, oh god, this is the death of cinema.
Yeah, because first they have them at gunpoint in the river, and then the lake, and they have them in the garage at gunpoint. James McAvoy's like hovering over the wife's shoulder, being like, reading off their bank number so she could send them the money. And so it makes it feel like, oh, so in the original, they was all kind of about like, yeah, they got money out of it. But if the couple had stood up for themselves and gotten away, they would have been like, hey, we helped change people for the better. I feel like James McAvoy would have been like pissed that their paycheck got away.
Exactly, because you can interpret in the original that they steal shit from the people they kill. I mean, they've got all their shit stored away, so I feel like that could have been implied, but either way, it wasn't relevant to the story. So explaining it and having it be the motivation is terrible.
But if we just implied it, then CinemaSins and Mahler would say it was a bad movie.
All you care about is money.
I'll give Mahler the benefit of the doubt. CinemaSins definitely.
Give it time.
As for The Shining, this reminded me of the difference between the Kubrick movie and the miniseries in a very key way, which is the presentation of the wife character. And the thing about Kubrick's Shining.
Oh yeah,
and I think it applies to the original Speak No Evil 2. Is that you have the Jack Torrance or the Scoot McNairy character who's so pathetic and or a piece of shit and like just so not worth your time. The only way that a woman would stay with them is that she's completely pathetic, like Shelley Duvall and a little bit like the wife in the original Speak No Evil. But then, in Stephen King's Hurt Pride version and his miniseries Rectification, she's like, a super babe and like so cool and like the best ever, because my wife stayed with me when I was an alcoholic doesn't mean that she's pathetic, Kubrick. Shit like that. And I feel like that's kind of the vibe in the American version is like Scoot McNairy stays pretty pathetic and like bafflingly ineffectual even when they do start fighting back.
He gets less pathetic because they have him fight back.
But he's completely ineffectual when he fights back.
But he does try.
He gets the drop on someone from behind with a hammer, and he fucks it up.
Yeah.
And his wife has to save him. And his wife is way more effective at all of the fighting. And it's like
the Dutch one wouldn't have tried at all. That'd be rude.
I understand, but I don't know. To try and fail is pretty embarrassing.
Well, the thing that's interesting about the American one is I thought they made the wife like the main character in a way.
Yes.
Which isn't
I would agree 100%.
A bad move. It's just like she's so effective.
Exactly. Like once they start fighting, she slashes McAvoy's face. She saves her husband.
Yeah. It's an American movie. We can't have her not be effective.
Yeah, we can't create a female character that's truly pathetic.
We can't stone them in a quarry.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Okay. So this is all kind of what I had surmised from your guys' takes and the trailers, obviously. So what I'm getting is that so because I haven't looked this up, I don't know for a fact they do fight back. Does the whole family live or do just? Oh, okay. All right.
The whole family lives and they save the boy.
Okay. And he gets adopted by them.
Who knows?
I guess.
It's like such a good ending that it was actually a little bit jarring to watch. Like it was such a massive pivot. Like
I feel like they tried to pretend that it was dark because the boy, very violently like beats James McAvoy to death with like a rock or some shit.
Okay, so that's like their wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
You don't really see it because it's just the boy's face as he's like beating down towards the camera, screaming.
Yeah,
I want it to be literally the same shot as that they put in the trailer of him doing the scissors, but it's just you chroma key his hands and swinging the rock down.
Yeah. Well, it's just like whenever James McAvoy says "because you let us," it's so undercut by the fact that he's holding a gun.
That doesn't even make sense.
It's like, no, they did. You literally took them hostage. What do you mean?
Well, and it's worse because he elaborates. Because the original Dutch guy, that's all you get. Where it's like, because you let us. Okay, now get down to the quarry and we're going to stone you to death. Whereas, James McAvoy is like, because you let us. You fucking liberals in your electric cars and your vegetarian ways, and it's like, oh god.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
And also more of that shit too, where like whenever they're eating dinner at the where in the Dutch one it was like the random like roadside inn that was kind of like weird and creepy. This is like a guy they know. It's like their friend who like is like a master chef who's also apparently the guy that helps them do this whole thing. Like he's
Gordon Ramsay's on hard times.
Yeah, he's the thug who helps. And like
because I don't know if they have do they even show a babysitter character? They do? Oh, okay.
But I think they tried to apply that he doesn't say anything. They never explain this, but I'm guessing the explanation is because James McAvoy says some off-kilter stuff about him being like an immigrant and stuff and being illegal. That like maybe that's the reason why he doesn't say anything, is because like if he says anything he'll get deported. So it's now like the roadside dinner guy is their friend, and the babysitter, I guess, just like every few weeks comes by and babysits a new set of kids. It doesn't like say anything to anybody. Doesn't think it's weird.
It's almost like it's shit writing.
It's almost like it sucks. But they're at this dinner. Oh, because it couldn't have an immigrant be evil at the end.
No,
I fucking hate American cinema.
Yeah.
And they have the bit from the Dutch where it's like, oh, you eat fish. You're not a vegetarian. You're a pescatarian. And the Dutch, like, you know, the James McAvoy claps at the wife, and she's sort of like is like meek and is like, yeah, I mean, haha. But in this one, like, she has a whole comeback about like the environment and about all the money she gives to like charities and all the other things she does for the environment, and she has a whole thing about it. And then James McAvoy is the one to drop it, and I'm like, you missed the point.
Some of the producers of this movie are pescatarians and were deeply offended.
Or they wanted her to like not be like, you know, meek and subjective, even though that's like the whole point of the fucking movie.
Yeah, if she wasn't, then how do they get into this situation in the first part?
I just think it's my opinion, and I think we lightly talked about this when we watched the original. Culturally, okay, I'm trying not to do this in a way like, oh, we're the minority and we're like so much smarter than the majority, because that's not very helpful necessarily, but it kind of feels like it. So when we watched the Dutch version, we acknowledged that it was frustrating at points.
Yes.
Some parts more than others, but that we understood that was the point, and it allowed us to feel more uncomfortable, and it made the ending worse. But I feel like no matter what you do, every kind of audience member, generalized, of course, if you show this film to someone who's very much not going to enjoy a woman not being a girl boss and standing up for herself, that's the Dutch version's not going to appease them in a generalized sense. And you look at the gun-toting Americans who, you know, are very much about, it's in our culture, Americans, independence, like fighting for your rights. Okay, so that sector of the audience is really not going to like the Dutch version for that reason. So I feel like there's a bunch of different, they thought about it from, okay, no matter which audience member it is, they're all going to find something that they won't like, so we have to change this and make it more culturally adapted to America.
Yeah, but it kind of ruins like what the Dutch is trying to say. Because in this one, it's weird. In this one, it's like they kind of hate like people and social norms, but like really, they kind of just want their money. Like during the big like climactic like 20-minute fight scene that happens, and the chef guy comes over to help because he came over to help like basically like sell the car and sell off their stuff and appraise things. And maybe slice off the girl's tongue, but we never got that far. He says to James McAvoy, like, why do you always do this? Why do you play with your food? And we don't really get an answer from James McAvoy. It's like, just get in there and find them and kill them, blah. I'm evil.
Well,
I don't know, man.
I'd say maybe that's clever in that they are satirizing American culture by having it be about money. I guess that's like a kudo I could give the writer, but that just doesn't seem like it's worth everything that happens in this version.
Yeah. I don't know. I was really excited because I read a thing about the original Dutch movie. I read a thing where the original ending was supposed to be like they get to the quarry and a bunch of other people are there. And it's like other couples have gotten other like foreign couples. And it's like some big ritual type thing. And I was like, please, I hope the American one just does that ending. But no.
That would have been hype.
Yeah, that way it would be, oh, we hate Americans. So it would be like a different sort of attack on the audience, I guess.
Yeah. Something. But apparently the original Dutch didn't have the money to do it, so they just went for the simpler ending, but
they didn't have the money to do it, but they showed some pretty good special effects of bruising and broken bones on their bodies.
Yeah, the rock scene was crazy.
Like, I don't know how they did that, but
they waited till the end, Like outside of that last 15 minutes, it's really not effects heavy at all.
No. And then Speak No Evil American has like cars blowing up and
yeah,
they're shooting people, they're fighting.
Here's what I'll say is as soon as we watched the original Dutch version, I knew that I didn't really want to go see the American version.
Yeah.
But given what you've told me, I'm really glad I didn't give my money to go see this. Maybe I'll check it out for the meme later, but I don't know.
Again, like up until the moment James McAvoy pulls a gun, it's like, oh, this is like not terrible.
Yeah,
it's like fine.
I think it's a little caricatural because, of course, the thing, like, every time there's some little issue in the Dutch version, they have the very realistic, like, you know, the husband and wife kind of give each other a look to be like, the fuck? Whereas in the American, almost every single thing is them actually commenting on it so that you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a weird plot thing of, like, in the American, of maybe James McAvoy's wife is, like, there against her will.
Yeah, they have the weird thing where as soon as they like
it's the Stockholm syndrome where she's been there so long that she's like an active participant.
Yeah, because basically the wife is able to slice James McAvoy in the face with a box cutter and then get a gun. Then they start running away, and his wife is like, "No, take me with you. He took me too. I was Agnes's age." And I'm like, "Are you full of shit, or is this just a very sloppy plot point?"
Yeah, because there's a bit earlier. There's 2 bits earlier that kind of reinforce that. Where whenever they're having the dinner at the at evil Gordon Ramsay's place. Evil Carmi Barzado's place by the sea, where they're like, we've been together for 17 years, you get less for murder. And then James McAvoy's like, after they leave and they're like dancing and stuff, they're like, 17 years? Wouldn't that make her how old? And then someone out there, the one's like, God, just drop it, we're in Europe.
Oh, okay.
And then later, like, I think it's after they've come back after they got the bunny rabbit, and they're all like, and I think this is after this is after the Cotton Eye Joe scene, because they're both literally like, whoa, what the fuck's going on? And then James McAvoy has like a drunken nap, which is what allows the boy to go and take the keys off of his belt and show the little girl in a cellar the whole mystery. But while that's happening, while that's happening, you know, the wife is talking to girl boss wife, and she's kind of being like, hey, so I'm sorry about my husband, but like, you know, it basically implies that like he beats her and she kind of has to live with this, and he gets drunken tendencies, but he's a good person, but he just kind of gets angry sometimes. And so our girl boss wife is like, oh geez, oh my God, like he gets like this, I'm so sorry for you. And like, you know, it's like, and then at the end when she does it again, it's like, so are they trying to say like, is she actually in like a bad situation, or do they kind of use their age gap and his anger to like have it be a further level of like social norm manipulation to have the wife be more, no, we'll stay because like this other woman is being abused and I want to support her. But then at the end where it's like, it's just all about the money, and it's like, it's so muddly. Like the movie's trying to be both movies at once.
Yeah, it's strange, that's for sure.
Like sometimes it wants to be the social commentary, social norm movie, and then sometimes you get the feeling that like, I think they're just doing it because it's fun and they want the money.
Yeah.
Well, it's, you know, I'm not going to segue out, but you know, similar to another remake experience I had recently, where the original had something, you know, thought-provoking and insightful to say, I'm kind of cynically left to feel like the remake just doesn't have anything to say.
I don't know what you could be talking about. I'm good with segueing out, Sal, if you are.
Yeah, I think everyone should go watch the original Dutch Speak No Evil. And I think if you want to watch the American, it would be a fun time with friends to be like, wow, look at that big old pile of shit.
Or you go to watch it with people that you know would never be able to handle the Dutch version, and you kind of want them to have a bit of exposure to that kind of cringe horror, that kind of awkward horror, but you're not going to take it too far, you know.
I'd say that I think for some people they would probably legitimately like this movie.
Oh, for sure.
This has been well received.
Yeah. Has it?
I don't know why.
It's because we don't have as many horror movies that are like these foreign films. You know, it's why I want to watch more foreign films, because they'll take more risks. They'll do crazy stuff like Speak No Evil. You know, like they will go there.
Okay.
They will chop out tongues. You know.
So Nathan, what else? What were you saying?
Yeah. So last week, I got in the mail. I got the lovely 30th anniversary 4K Blu-ray of Brandon Lee's The Crow, which I watched, and you know, it's great. It's a masterpiece. You know, because of everything around it, it's very hard not to feel emotional in the scenes where, you know, it's Brandon Lee being iconic, and you know, just very, very great indie flick, you know, that has a very insightful message about death and closure and moving on, and how it changes your life, and just again a very, very beautiful film. And then I torrented the remake.
Doesn't even try.
He has so much hatred. He didn't even try to hide it.
Yeah. It's like you felt like a little bad about the Speak No Evil, but you're like, but this one, no.
No.
No, I went out of my way to make sure that it did not receive any money. I know it already didn't, but just to piss in the ashes a little bit.
Is The Crow the Concord of movies?
I think so. And it was very funny, you know, to anyone who's read my Letterboxd review. It's great. You should check it out. But the thing is, I did try to go into it with an open mind, because I was a little bit. There was a part of me that was confused with how angry people were that this remake was being made. Because in my mind, I was like, okay, well, there's already been 3 other Crow films. And yeah, they bombed, but I don't think people were like, you need to boycott this. It's morally wrong that they're doing this. And I was like, okay, is it because it's Eric and Shelley again? And I was like, well, they did a TV show remake that did that too. And I've heard it's really good. I really want to watch it, actually. And I was like, well, supposedly, according to the creator of the original Crow comic, this version it's less a remake of the Brandon Lee version and more a new adaptation of the same source material. And I'm like, okay, you know, and you know, as someone who's waiting very, very patiently for Hellboy the Crooked Man, I am all for comic book artist getting, you know, the adaptation of their work that they really want. Unfortunately, The Crow fucking sucks, dude. I'm shocked. It misses the fucking point of the story completely. And like, I can't speak to the original comic. I haven't read it. But if somehow it is a more faithful adaptation, then that comic fucking sucks, dude. And like, James O'Barr should be very pleased with how much Brandon Lee's film improved his source material.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's pretty bad. I'm
really upset that the movie's not good right now, actually. I want to tell you guys why.
Please.
The director, according to Letterboxd, the director of The Crow,
yeah,
also directed the Halo 3 commercial Believe and the Halo 3 ODST commercial The Life, which is the one that with the fucking the ODSTs are dropping in.
Yeah.
Man.
That sucks, doesn't it?
Really? Because you want to know what's funny? If before Nathan saw this movie and alerted us to the fact that it was hot garbage, if I had seen this information, I would have probably gone and seen it.
Because I can't speak. I don't. What are your feelings on the Brandon Lee Crow movie, Salvatore?
It's been so fucking long that I don't have any.
That's fair. Well, regardless, this movie is just very generic. It ends up feeling a lot more like a comic book movie because so they have the line where it's like, oh, people used to believe that when a person dies, a crow comes to carry their soul across, but sometimes there's so much sadness in the soul that it can't rest and it comes back. That's the whole premise. That's the whole fucking point. Gotcha. Is that it is the sadness and the regret of losing the person they love that has brought back the crow. They have that line to ostensibly explain how Bill Skarsgård came back, and he comes back and he's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And it's like, motherfucker, did you forget? I thought the sadness in your soul, did you it's so weird. He spends a good
it's the
15-20 minutes just confused that he's back.
Kind of forgot.
Yeah. And then he meets the mentor character, and I'm like, oh no, we have a mentor character to tell him how to be the crow.
Yeah, baby.
I think the part that really surprised me, Nathan, was when the revelation of why Eric and Shelley were murdered. Where Danny Houston has demonic hypnotism powers.
Yeah. So in the original, they get fucking murdered because they try to stand up to their slumlord, and he hires thugs that kill him. And it's an over the top 90s movie. It's kind of cheesy, but it's still a realistic scenario.
Right.
In the remake, the Shelley character, she has video of her being hypnotized demonically by Danny Houston to kill someone, and she shows it to Eric. Or no, she doesn't show it to Eric, I'm sorry, but she's with Eric, and they find her, and they kill her because she knew too much. That's the so fuck. I'm not gonna go in. I'm not gonna go over the whole fucking movie because it's just not worth it. But when he's first brought back, when he meets the mentor character that tells him what to do, we find out that if Eric can get revenge and kill the people that killed them, then both he and Shelley can come back to life. And then they say, in the original, it's kind of vague as to what gives him his crow powers and everything, but when he does stuff that isn't connected to the revenge and all of that, then he kind of gets weaker and shit like that. In this, he specifically says, as long as your love remains pure, you will be unstoppable. And it's like, I don't know what that means. And they actually have a fucking scene where it's the closest you can get to rejecting the hero's journey for the crow, which, again, if you know anything about the crow, conceptually, it is very fucking stupid to have the plot point of the rejection of the hero's journey, because it's their whole fucking point. But he does. He doubts her because she didn't tell him about the video, and he's like, oh, does she really love me? And then he gets his shit kicked in by a thug. He comes back to the crow realm where he meets his mentor character, and he's like, oh, it's too late. I guess you get to be immortal, but now she's slipping into darkness. Oh yeah, that's the other thing is Danny Houston, when he hypnotizes people, it means that their otherwise pure souls are going to hell. He's got to deal with the devil. So it's like, oh yeah, she's gonna slip into darkness, but yeah, you get to be immortal for what it's worth. And so then Bill Skarsgård's like, wait, my life for hers, I'll go to hell as long if I can get revenge and save her. And they're like, oh, okay. And then he's the fighting badass, and it
sounds real good, man.
It's putrid. It's hot garbage. It very well might be the worst film of 2024. I haven't seen the Borderlands movie, but I'm not going to.
See, we have to before the year's out, so we can do our Shuttlecast film awards.
God forgive me.
That's a very cruel thing to do.
Didn't this year also have motherfucking Madam Web?
Oh dear, it's been a long year.
Yeah, baby.
Help me.
That was great.
Very good.
Speaking of The Crow, I did take a visit to
The Asylum.
Oh my god.
And while I don't think this is technically a mockbuster of the Crow series, they do in fact have a slasher trilogy.
No, stop it.
Of The Scarecrow.
Oh, these sound good.
So let me tell you, the first Scarecrow movie is so fucking good. It is such a great schlocky slasher film. It is everything that I wanted. It's got some great hammy acting and over the top performances. The Scarecrow costume actually looks really good. He goes around and he has really punny kills. Like he stabs a guy in the throat with a shovel, and then he's like, "Can you dig this?" And it's like, it's so like, it's everything I ever wanted. The other two are fucking putrid. And it's really weird because the third film isn't actually Asylum. Like, the rights passed to another low budget movie making company, and they did it.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
What's funny is when the Asylum gives up the rights. Oh boy.
Well, it's so weird because the first one is the best, right?
Obviously.
I would say the second one is probably the worst, even though it has Tony Todd in it for like 5 minutes. And, one of the biggest sins is they make it so that the Scarecrow doesn't talk, and it's just no fun. Like, it sucks. It's the same guy that did the Killer's Duology and Rock and Roll Fantasy, so he's just a shitty director, I've discovered.
It's the shits.
But that's Scarecrow Slayer. Don't watch it. It's and then the third one is Scarecrow Gone Wild, or Goes Wild, I forget.
Does he show his tits?
He does not. There is one titty scene.
Okay.
Some representation from the itty bitty titty committee, but
committee. I like that better than community.
I don't like how fast you said that, as if it was like locked and loaded.
Thank you. Well, but that one also has Ken Shamrock, who gets to do some wrestling moves against the Scarecrow. So that's it's more fun.
That's why it's up a half star from the second movie.
Yes, that is at 100%.
And Olivia Munn? What the fuck?
Her film debut.
That's amazing.
Girl number 4 or some shit.
Oh,
number 1. Yeah. Come on, man. Did you even watch it?
No. She's no. Lower tier. But yeah, so I would solidly recommend the first Scarecrow. You don't need to watch the others. They're not even connected. In that way, they are kind of like the Crow series, where it's different Scarecrows, because basically someone gets killed and then their spirit goes into the Scarecrow, which it's semi-implied that the Scarecrow itself has its own like malevolent will. It's not just that it gets possessed by the dead spirit. It's like a weird merging.
Okay.
It's very interesting. Because like halfway through the first Scarecrow movie, he like almost kills his mom, and then you like hear him internally. He's like, "No, I need to stop," and it's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no,
I kind of fuck with that.
First Scarecrow was great. I want to get it.
Damn,
I want to have this in my collection.
Do you think if speaking of Olivia Munn, do you think we could buy the rights to Attack of the Show? Do a rebranding.
I'm unfamiliar.
You know what Attack of the Show is?
No.
Oh my god. Okay. It's you know what G4 was, right?
Yeah, that was the game channel.
Yeah, their main show was Attack of the Show. It was like an hour-long like entertainment news show. And that's like I think the first big thing Olivia Munn really was known for.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not Scarecrow?
That was probably up there.
Okay.
But I will say the first time I saw Olivia Munn was not Scarecrow. It was Scarecrow Gone Wild. Sorry, it was Attack of the Show.
Gotcha.
On G4.
Yeah. I feel like
you want to,
So
you want to be Attack of the Shuttlecast.
Yeah, let's just steal their whole let's just take their whole setup and we'll just ape it and do it on the Shuttlecast.
And we'll be G3 because there's 3 of us.
Yes.
There we go.
Common Rider G3. Sorry. Anyway, that's a real Common Rider. Yes, thank you, Chef.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I watched some horror movies as well.
Yeah.
To make up for the fact that last time I saw ABCs of Death, I was like, I need to watch a better horror anthology.
Yes.
That had a lot of the same people involved.
Oh.
Yes. So I've been going on a horror kick, which has been great because I've been off horror for a hot minute. And I'm so happy to be fucking back, baby. So I watched VHS.
Yay.
The first one. This is all a build-up because I want to watch the newest VHS, which I think is VHS Beyond.
Oh, was that... so VHS, what is it, 1984? That was like before this one?
Yeah, I think isn't there 1, 2 viral and like 98
then they name
or whatever?
There's 1, 2 viral, 94, 99, 85, Beyond.
Oh God.
So there's 2
like
trilogies, and this is like when I found out how many Paranormal Activities there really were.
Yes, but it's better here because they're not connected. They're all just. And
that is true.
And they're spacing them in different years, I think.
Yeah, it's an anthology of anthologies, which is cool conceptually.
Yeah, so I watched the very first VHS again. It's been a long time. This came out in 2012. And there are some interesting people here that are also involved in ABCs of Death 1.
Right.
This film, the overarching frame story, is done by Adam Wingard.
Yep.
Okay.
And I knew it because I was watching it. One of the guys, the first guy that plays the first tape, I was like, "That's motherfucking Adam Wingard." Who goes on to do different things, but yeah, he's also in ABCs of Death. The first film, Amateur Night, which is the one about the succubus siren lady.
Which got a spin-off film.
Yes, which I need to watch. It's got its own film called Siren.
It's all right.
Oh, you saw it?
I did a long time ago.
Hell yeah. I'll have to watch it. He went on to actually direct the Hulu Hellraiser movie.
Yes, he did.
I haven't seen that.
Which is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
What I've heard.
It's pretty good. Which is awesome. Good for you. The second short is Second Honeymoon, which is the couple going on a little little honeymoon vacation in the Wild West town sort of thing. And someone films them at night one night, and the second night the husband gets killed, and you find out the killer is having an affair with the wife, and they have lesbian making out. That one is directed by Ty West.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah,
And
that one I don't remember very well.
it's okay. I think
that's been my impression of Ty West so far.
Well, that's wrong, but that's okay.
I said so far.
So far, you haven't seen Maxine yet.
What else has he done?
X, Pearl, Maxine.
Oh, okay.
Which
didn't he do Your Next or?
No, that is at a Wingard.
No, that's Wingard. That's right.
Wingard.
That's right.
My
bad.
That's okay. We've all been there. What else did he do? He did House of the Devil, which I've never seen. He did Cabin Fever 2.
Oh, I've only seen the first one.
He did The Sacrament, which I've always wanted to see. And then In a Valley of Violence, which I've never heard of before. It's a Western. Okay, interesting. And then he did his Pearl X trilogy, which is fantastic. Definitely Ty West's short in VHS is better than his M for Miscarriage in ABCs of Death. But that's kind of easy to be better than that. He has the least interesting short of VHS. The next film is called Tuesday the 17th. And this was interesting because this one is it's like a girl and her friends go to this creepy place in the woods. And then basically you find out that she met these people, befriended them, and brought them out here to get drunk. And she's here to lure out a slasher that killed her friends the last time she was here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember this.
And since it's all found footage, the slashers are all glitchy and like teleporting and stuff. It's really interesting. Right. It's really cool, actually. This guy like hasn't done shit.
Aw.
It's because he did everything he wanted to do.
He directed a movie a couple years prior to this called I Sell the Dead.
Oh.
With Dominic Monaghan from Lord of the Rings, which I've never heard of. It also has Ron Perlman. I'll have to check it out.
It was really good.
No, what's that?
Yeah. They got this.
It's Ralph Bakshi. It's
yeah, and they got a new movie coming out.
Is that Amazon show? That's really cool. With the blonde girl, it's like a girl boss. Sorry, I'll move on.
I'm gonna rub chilies.
I deserve that. I'm sorry. You set me up. You set me up.
You did. You knocked it out of the park.
The next one is called The Sick Thing That Happened to Emily When She Was Younger. And this one is like all on like video call. This is the prequel to Unfriended. or even better, Searched.
Oh god.
Yeah, I prefer Unfriended 2.
Yes, the Dark Web.
Unfriended the Dark Web is
that's a pretty good one.
I remember watching Searched, I think. Hold on, Searching.
Was that the one with
That one was not bad.
Yeah.
Searching, yes, with John Cho.
That's right. I remember seeing those trailers. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't awful. It was weird to watch it in theaters because it's all it's like on some girl's like iPad or iMac, and I was in a fucking like AMC theater, and I'm like, this is crazy. It's very white.
That's how I felt watching Unfriended 2. I somehow was able to find a theater that was playing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm overwhelmed.
I not to be rude to films that try to utilize like it being all on the computer screen, but I feel like I have to watch them at home.
I would love to actually watch them on my computer to get what I assume is the intended experience.
Yes. Searching had a sequel called Missing. I did not know this was a thing.
What you'd think it would be the other way around.
Oh, it stars Storm Reed. I might watch it. She's good. Okay, never mind. Wait, and who is this?
How are you going to search for something if it hasn't gone missing yet?
I know, right? It has like actual actors in this. This is crazy. Okay, cool. I'll watch it. Where was I? Yes, the thing that happened. Can Kamen Rider stop verming his bike outside, please? Jesus Christ. Sorry, guy. The weird thing that happened to Emily when she was younger. It's all done on like a computer screen, and it's like she thinks that her apartment's haunted, so she keeps calling her boyfriend. And eventually, you find out that it's actually aliens, and her boyfriend, who's supposed to be like states away, comes in after she passes out from aliens, and takes like a baby out of her stomach, and it's like, oh, you guys have to like, stop doing this. She thinks I'm in Michigan, like.
Oh yeah.
Or having something like an accident.
Yeah.
And then, the next a couple weeks later, she's like all fucked up and bandaged up with a sling. And then she's like, I love you. And he's like, I'll talk to you later. And then it shows him going to a different call with a different girl who has like similar problems. And you're like, oh, how many girls is he doing this to, man? That short was really fucking good because that was so like depressing and like dour at the end.
Yeah,
there's a theme here of what I like to watch.
Oh shit!
This was directed by a guy I'm not familiar with his works, but he was the guy who starred in the Honeymoon video on VHS.
Oh.
So it's like, oh, interesting. So he can act, he can direct, he can do it all. You could see it all. But I'd say even though he has like the most like interesting conceptually, I don't think he's had like hits like the other guys have. Which is fine. You don't always need to have like your pearls and your X's. Maybe he has a hit. I'm just not in my quick hovering of his Wikipedia page. I'm not standing out to me. But the last film is 10/31/98. And it's weird. The directing is attributed to the production company that did it. But it's basically the guys who would go on to do Scream, Scream 6, Ready or Not, and Abigail.
Hey.
Which are all good movies.
I still need to catch up on Scream, but...
Dude, I fucking actually love Scream 5. Honest to God.
I gotta check it out.
It's really fucking good. Scream 6 is good until the reveal.
Oh, man.
And I actually have not seen Ready or Not yet, but I want to. Every time I see a clip of it, I might have.
Ready or Not's fun.
Ready or Not is a lot of fun.
I've been spoiled on some popping things that happen in that movie.
Well, you've seen Abigail, so.
Yes, I've heard there's similarities.
Yeah, well, it's the same universe.
I've heard that too. That's right. But this one's fun because this one is like it's like a bunch of friends. They go to like they go to a place for a party. And there's a bit where they're not sure what street it's on because there's so many streets with an M. So I think they arrive at the wrong house, and the house is fucking creepy. I think it's like supposed to be a haunted house, and they get to the attic, and they're like sacrificing a girl, and so like creepy shit happens, and they save her. And as they're running out of the house, like really good, like pretty good visual effects for like a 2012 found footage, like indie horror movie. Of like they go to open the door and the door handle like sucks itself back into the door, and then the window on the door like closes in on itself as wood, and it's like holy shit. That one's really good too. So it's looking at it now, like looking back, like it's kind of cool how like 3 like pretty influential filmmakers come out of this.
At the time, VHS was pretty innovative, pretty on the cutting edge of things. I think everybody kind of knew that. I mean, I didn't see 3 on advice from counsel, but
I've heard Viral was bad.
Yeah, the first 2, people kind of knew that these guys were going to go somewhere, you know. Yeah,
there's also a lot of like tits. Between VHS and ABCs of Death, there's a lot of like, let's just like show tits and have women like we're gonna make them expose their tits. Like there's like a bit in this one where it's like in the overarching story, it starts off with these characters like their whole gimmick is they will find couples on the street and they'll run up to them. And 2 guys will hold down the guy date, and then the other people go to the girl, and they'll like grab her, and they'll like pull up her shirt and like show her tits to the camera. Yeah. Which then cuts to these guys like going into abandoned places and like breaking stuff, and then you find out that they do this to get $50 a tape.
Yeah.
They sell it for $50, and they're talking about like, hey, when summer comes around, we start doing skirts.
And it might get 70.
It's like, Jesus Christ, guys. And then also, and then they're filming over a tape where one of the guys like set up a camera to trick a girl into like filming her while he's fucking her. And it's just like, god damn, man. Y'all,
yeah, I mean,
y'all suck.
you got to figure that in any like indie horror film, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get tits. So you compound that into multiple indie horror shorts, and there it is.
Yeah, especially the Adam Wingard bro, because his short in ABCs of Death, which was like Q for Quack, where he couldn't think of an idea for the short, so he has just some girl like screaming on a green screen with her top off. So for like inspiration.
Hey man, it's at least he's honest. So
I can't wait till the thing about Adam Wingard is instead of gratuitous tits, he started doing gratuitous kaiju fights, and I think it's a lot better as like a
net win.
Yeah, that's a good replacement.
Yeah, that is upwards in quality.
Yeah.
100%.
Growing up is replacing tits for kaijus.
Well, it either goes one way or the other.
It does. I also went and I watched another older horror movie, which I had actually never seen this one before. I watched Jennifer's Body.
The apparently hidden gem.
It actually wasn't. It was actually really fucking good. It was pretty good. I was.
I'll have to revisit.
Pleasantly surprised. So I watched it because I'd never seen it before, and B, it has my boy Kyle Gallner in it. So I was like, I gotta watch it. It's got Kyle Gallner. And apparently recently it was like the anniversary for it, so I was like, yeah, sure, the stars are aligning right now.
There you go.
It also has Chris Pratt in like one scene. He jump scared me.
That is terrifying.
J.K. Simmons has hair and also a claw hand. And he's playing very much like a bumbling, very wholesome school teacher.
He's like Will Shatner in American Psycho 2.
No.
No.
And yes.
But Jennifer's Body, just not to put too much time on it, is like, it's really satirical and funny, and it has good things to say about like. It's a weird. It's kind of like it's a gay love story more than anything else, between like the hot girl at school and like her nerdy friend. It's kind of about them like realizing feelings for each other on top of all the other like body image stuff the movie's trying to tell. And it also has fun stuff to say about indie bands. But the movie has things to say, and it is way more sauce than you might imagine from a Megan Fox 2009 horror movie.
Yeah, well, that's the weird thing of the 2000s of trying to cash in on Megan Fox repeatedly. It's very bizarre.
It's also like a movie. It's almost like a movie that's deconstructing Megan Fox as she's like rising to fame.
Yes. It was a watershed moment for her and for her career. And arguably, from what I don't remember if I've seen the whole thing, but from what I recall, regarded as probably channeling her abilities and the best out of any film she's ever been in that I've seen.
I would say, given what I know from her career, which is honest to God, I can't tell you a lot. It's probably her best role.
What, you didn't like her in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I didn't watch that, did I?
Oh, did you?
Did I?
Did you?
I did. That was the last movie I saw before moving out here.
Oh, that's right.
Like in theaters.
Oh man. Okay.
Fuck 2014.
You got to go back to that now on the anniversary of your 10 years of being here.
It might be 10 years since the movie came out. When did it? Hold on. I'm on the IMDb. Give me a second here. Johnny Knoxville. What the? All right, I gotta scroll past that. I can't get distracted.
Don't worry about that.
I have to lock in right now. We're locked in. Okay, hold on. All right, where the fuck did they hide the release date on?
It's way down there.
Help!
Yeah. You gotta scroll.
How
way
far
down?
Jesus fucking Christ! God, even farther. Wait, technical specs. No, box office.
I think you're closing in.
August 8th, 2014. Last month.
Hey. So it's overdue.
It's overdue.
Yeah.
For a rewatch.
Yeah.
Well, that was the weird thing, because like a couple months ago, I watched 2, which I think I've seen before in various states of inebriation. So I think that was my first sober watch. And that was the really surreal thing.
The original TMNT or Out of the Shadows? Out of the Shadows.
Oh, okay. No, I've seen I've seen TMNT too in various states of sobriety and insobriety, but
Good.
But Out of the Shadows, it was so weird because that's like what is that, 2016, 2017?
2016.
And that has like, you know, the most like standard like, you know, sexualization of Megan Fox, and I was like, we're still doing this. It's been almost 10 years since Transformers. What are we doing?
Man, that is wild.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Jonah Hex. I never saw that.
Oh dear. Jonah Hex is wow.
Should I add that to my Letterboxd watch list?
Yes.
Hey man, I'm all for it.
Do you want to see Josh Brolin's possibly worst movie?
I think it might be. I think it might be.
She's in Bad Boys 2. As Stars and Stripes Bikini Kid dancing.
I don't like that it's Bikini Kid, but
I was going to say
what you will. I don't like the idea that Michael Bay saw her when she was younger. And okay, let's move on. All right.
Yeah,
oh yes, wow, that has a lot of.
That's not good.
There's a lot of layers here. Anyway,
yeah, let's move on from that.
I have one last horror film to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Or should we move on to somebody else?
No, go ahead. I was gonna bang out my stuff after you did this.
I went back and I saw the 2023 film that was in theaters for 2 days. I saw 2 days. I saw Cobweb, starring Anthony Starr.
What?
Oh yeah.
What? Yes, this movie was out for 2 fucking days, bro. It came out, nobody saw it in the week it was out, and then it left theaters. I legit was gonna watch this, and I found out it was a movie like the week it came out, and I was like, well, I'm already planning on seeing something this week, so I was gonna watch it the next week, and then it was already out of theaters. So
did you see it on Hulu?
Hulu, yes, Hulu is a great place for horror. They got their stuff down over there. They have First Omen on there. Everyone should go see First Omen, please. Like the best horror movie of the year so far.
You know, you say that, and you know, I am curious because I've only seen the original and then maybe the 2006 Omen. So
it is really good to the original.
Didn't Abigail come out this year?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I know it's horror comedy, but
Abigail is like not even in the top like 5 horror movies for me this year.
Damn. Oh well, I mean, let's see. Number 1, Longlegs. What else you got?
Are we going in like reverse order or? Let's see. Well, I haven't actually like charted out my top horror movies, but I have all my top film. I have every movie that came out this year. I have it ranked.
That's right. You did do that.
So my top ranked horror movie is The First Omen. My second is Alien Romulus. My third is I Saw the TV Glow.
Mm-hmm.
My fourth is Strange Darling, and my fifth is Cuckoo.
Okay, all right, yeah, it's been knocked out.
And then 6, Quiet Place. 7, Maxine. And then 8 is Abigail.
Okay, I was like, if it's not even in your top 10.
9, Trap. 10, Violent Nature. 11, Speak No Evil. 12, Longlegs.
Which Speak No? Oh no, that's this one.
Yeah,
I can't put Longlegs below Trap, but
I can.
I hear you.
Easy.
They have the same problem, but
easy.
All right.
M. Night is not disingenuous in what the movie is. He knows it's fun. No. Anyway, I saw Cobweb.
Yes.
Starring Anthony Starr. And you'll all be excited to hear that the runtime for this movie is 88 beautiful minutes.
Oh.
This film gets in and gets the fuck out. basically it's about a little boy. It really is focused on the kid who is hearing like tapping and knocking on his like bedroom wall, and he starts hearing voices, and he thinks that it's like a ghost, and eventually he finds out that it's someone living in the walls, and that his parents put them there. What's going on? So it's a fun mystery, and then it's a great reveal, and then it's a great like 15 minutes after the reveal we deal with the consequences of the reveal. Anthony Starr's great, obviously. He's doing his best, like, what if Homelander was like a dad?
Wonderful. He is a dad.
Shoot this motherfucker.
Thank you. I was tabbing to Discord. Because I have monitor 2 on the OBS to make sure it records your guys' voices, and monitor 1 is Wikipedia. So I was like, fuck, hold on a second. I gotta get over there. Yeah, I don't want to say too much because I think it's a movie that almost no one saw, so it deserves people to go watch it. It's on Hulu. It's a solid like 90-minute horror movie that doesn't fucking waste your time. It like sets up its premise. It has fun with it. It does its twist. It has fun with the twists being exposed, and then the movie ends. It's 88 fucking minutes. It's great. Not my favorite horror movie of the year, but it's not because it's bad. It's just because like, it's like, it's really good, solid. It's really fucking good.
Well, Nathan, I just added it to our letterbox, so you'll be pleased to know.
Good, yes, it's on Hulu. Go put it on. Again, it's like, again, 88 minutes. The twist is fun. It's a twist where it's like as it's happening, you're like, oh my god, we're here, and then you're like, oh no.
I appreciate that horror films, like, I feel like they're the last bastion of cinema that realizes it doesn't need to hit that 2-hour mark or longer.
God.
Like, not everything needs to be an epic.
It really doesn't. I want to watch a fantasy film or a sci-fi film that's like, hey, we are 90 minutes.
Well, I speaking of, that's something I was actually going to talk about.
Oh my god.
Not recently, but I actually sat down and watched the Ultramarines movie, which came out back in 2010.
Oh shit, we're doing that now? Ago. Oh my god, they're going to do a whole video about it.
I just watched that today, so...
Oh, you did? Shit, I haven't watched it yet. I didn't realize we were... Oh my god, I'm being jumped.
Well, then we will forestall the discussion.
Thank you. I might make the husband watch it tonight with me. We'll see what happens.
But I guess like maybe some general thoughts. I'm very curious what you thought, Nathan, not being as into 40K as Sal and I. But I thought it was like a decent movie. Like everyone hates on it, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I personally find the like animation and art style very like oddly charming. It feels like this is a deep pull, but it feels like a mixture of Angel Wars and like SWTOR in-game animation,
Yes.
But yeah, it definitely I would say it's like baby's first 40K, but I feel like most 40K content, it does expect you to know something. But it's Ultramarines versus Chaos. It's wonderful. Yeah. It's
written by Dan
Abnett. Written by Dan Abnett. Yeah, with fucking a star-studded voice cast.
Terrence Stamp, Donald Sumpter, John Hurt, just to name a few. It's
Sean Pertwee.
Sean Pertwee.
Can you link me to that again, by the way? Because I can't find it.
Give you the link to the.
When you got a chance, yeah.
No, I'll send it to you. Some kind soul has put it on YouTube. But yeah, Sean Pertwee is kind of the protagonist, I would say. He's solidly the protagonist. It kind of tricks you because at first you think I'm not spoiling anything, but Terrence Stamp is very prominent, and then Sean Pertwee kind of takes the mantle.
Yeah,
it's pretty great. Brother. He's great.
Yeah, Ultramarines, I would say it's kind of like baby's first 40K, which is not a bad thing because it's such a massive universe. I would say like pretty much like Astartes is like, oh hey, here's like this cool aesthetic, here's like a cool simple story. And then Ultramarines is like, we're gonna give you like a basic story within the framework, but it's gonna be classic 40K. And yeah, the faces aren't the best, but most of the movie people have helmets on anyway, and that stuff all looks great. So who cares?
It was 76 minutes.
Yeah. It clips.
It made me want to rewatch Hell's Reach for sure.
Yes.
God, yeah, man. Shit. I recently was adding more to my Warhammer book collection.
And speaking of, there's another Warhammer fan film that came out that is 50 minutes on YouTube. Everyone needs to check it out. It came out a few days ago. It already has over 1 million views. It's called The Awakening. It features some delicious Necron content. So that's another really that one too expects you to know a bit more. But it's still, I think nonetheless it is quite a great time.
I see your link now. Thank you.
Yes.
Let me just jump in and add it to my watch later.
Yes.
Ooh, 1080p.
Yep.
I will say, watching that on my TV, that felt like a lie, but
yeah,
you know.
Let me add this other one added to my playlist of fan films to watch.
Mm-hmm. I've been going on a fan film spree recently. Kind of going ham. Another, I'm gonna kind of rattle some of these off real quick, and if you find it interesting, we can stop. I watched this short film. I don't know how I found it. It's called ETA, and it is a short film made by some European animators set in the Alien universe, and it is a Weyland-Yutani employee drinking his coffee. That's how the short starts. It's literally like only a few minutes, but it curveballs and then curveballs again, and I thought it was pretty funny. After that, as far as other fan films, I watched Hope and Glory, a Mad Max fan film.
I saw you posting that, yeah.
Yeah, you just talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give it to me.
It's an Australian production. It's not some Americans doing it, thank God.
Some Americans.
It's a fan film that is set before the events of Fury Road, but it is done almost completely practically. So it reminded me a lot more of the original trilogy of Mad Max movies. Because even though I liked it, I think we can all agree Furiosa definitely amped up the green screening.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a return to form, I would say. It's really good, actually. For a fan film, it's solid. For a Mad Max fan film, they have like good sets, and I don't know how they did some of these exteriors, but with like these giant abandoned ships, they might be composited, but it's just a simple story that, as far as I understand it, adapts 2 issues of a prequel comic to Fury Road that was also kind of in the 2015 Mad Max game, which that game's a whole story of what that is.
That's
and how
a fucking can of worms.
That's a can of worms of like, is that canon? Is that just like, what is that? But yeah, and the guy that got to play Max is good. He's definitely doing more of a Tom Hardy, very much disconnected from the world performance. But it's just a simple story, essentially, of trying to get a girl out of a place for her family, and the classic, I need gasoline, so I'll do this, and you give me gasoline, and then gasoline, and it's about 45 minutes long, and it's a great time. I definitely recommend that one.
Should I include it in the next marathon?
I think you might get something out of it that way.
Sorry.
Because it's adapting the prequel comic a little bit, it kind of leads you into Fury Road. It's not like trying to be like Furiosa was, where it's like the last scene is the direct lead into Fury Road.
Oh, sure.
So you'd probably sandwich it in between there. But
do you do the edit where you edit in Hope and Glory into Furiosa and then into Fury Road?
Yes, I think that is. You make one long, like 5-hour movie. It sounds awesome.
Perfect.
So definitely recommend that. I watched Sonic Rebuilt, which is just Shrek Retold, but the original Sonic 90s anime OVA, and that was a good time. definitely just as much drug fuel as Shrek Retold.
Oh shit! When is Shrek 2 Retold coming out?
It's funny you mention that, because when I watched the Sonic Rebuild, I saw a video that just got uploaded by the studio, and they said, listen, Shrek Retold had over 200 artists. Shrek 2 Retold has over 900 artists, so it's not done and it's delayed.
God damn it.
That's fair.
They did like a proof of concept. I think they showed like, I don't know the exact number, but I think only like 30 minutes or maybe more than that at like a screening of what was done, but they have more to do. So that is delayed. It probably won't be out till next year.
Damn. After it had already been delayed because of the fucking coronavirus.
Yes.
God damn it. Oh well.
Well, you can't say that.
It's fine. Listen, I was wanting to toke up for that, and I'm also trying to have a kid, so I can't have that at the same time. So maybe at that point, my wife will be pregnant, and I can have weed again. So
there you go.
And the stars will align. They're waiting for you. Actually, they're like, "Come on."
That's right.
Yeah, they're like, it needs to happen.
On me.
It's all on me.
I have one more film to talk about that is out. I watched a movie in theaters this weekend.
Right.
I saw The Killer's Game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Bautista and Sofia Boutella.
Yes, that is correct, Amundo. I saw, and also had Ben Kingsley. He jump scared me. I don't know the last time I fucking saw Ben Kingsley in a movie.
I didn't know he was still alive.
I thought he was retired, and then he was like a major character in this movie. And I was like, I guess Ben Kingsley's not retired. I was like, cool. Directed by J.J. Perry, who's done stunts for Fast and Furious and John Wick and Avatar and a bunch of shit. So it's kind of like a similar situation for, the John Wick guys were stuntmen who, became directors. So this is a similar path for this guy, this director. So I like this, that like, I like the path this is paving for stuntmen.
Let the guys who know action do action, essentially.
Yeah, basically, which is
it's the way to do it.
It's perfect. It's perfect. So I walked into this being like, it's got Dave Bautista, it's got Sofia Boutella, and they're both the stars of the last two Zack Snyder joints. And I'm like, I'm sick of watching them on my TV screen. I want to go see them in a fucking movie theater. I want to go support Dave Bautista. So I kind of walked in with like no expectations, right?
Of course.
And then I watched it, and I also had some other familiar faces. River Song showed up out of nowhere. And I was like, what the fuck? And Palm Clementieff, who is Mantis in Guardians.
Oh, okay.
And she's also in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part Nevermind. And Terry Crews.
Hey.
And also Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, how is he? I'm curious. I don't know how much he's in it.
Yeah, but he's like a villain. So basically, the plot of the movie is Dave Bautista is a contract killer, and at a contract killing, he runs into Sofia Boutella, and they kind of have a moment. And then at some point during his job, he's having headaches, so he goes to his handler, who is Ben Kingsley. He's like, "Hey man, I'm kind of like fucked up," and he's like, "Hey man, you just did a job, take some time off, meet a girl, have fun." So he kind of hooks up with Sofia Boutella, and it turns into more than just a hookup, and they form a relationship. And it's a fun thing of like they're partying and they're having these moments together, memories, and it's intercutting between him doing jobs. So like he'll shoot someone in the head, and it'll cut to Sofia Boutella like swinging her head as she's dancing in his arms. He'll grab a bottle to bash someone on the head, and it'll cut to the bottle then spinning and being poured into a glass. And they're at dinner. Very good editing. There's some really good editing in this movie that really took me like by surprise, because again, it looks like a generic ass action movie. He finds out that he might have this illness, so he puts out a contract killing on himself. And then right as before the deadline starts for people to kill him, his doctor calls saying, "Sorry, Ashley, you're fine. We got the results mixed up." So now he has to fend off against all these killers who want to kill him for his money because he put out the contract kill on himself. And it's kind of like in my Letterboxd review, where it is a less serious, funner John Wick, where it has the good stylized action, it has some interesting editing, but it really doesn't take itself that seriously. I mean, it helps that the wife character is alive the whole movie and isn't like that before the events of the plot or the film. And it's just, it's got good editing, got good action. Dave Bautista is obviously great, so Sophia Botello. Drew McIntyre just plays one of these random like killers, and like it's him and someone else, and they're speaking in like the thickest
Glasgow accent.
Yes, and it's the subtitled.
Oh, good.
And you can kind of hear some of what they're saying, but like then it's translating to us what they're meaning to say. And like, I just fucking and he's like eating the entire time and like farting and shitting himself, and it's just like, what the fuck is happening? There's this really.
I heard that Batista like personally recommended Drew McIntyre for the role. So I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad our boy's getting some screen time.
He was a delight, to be sure. And I also had a really funny killer called Botas, who is like a Hispanic like dancer, and he had his headphones in and he played like samba music, and he would like dance fight, and he had spurs on his boots.
Love it.
It's just like
Trinity.
Yeah, and and every killer's introduced in a big like flamboyant, stylized introduction that like shows, and it has their name showing up in fun ways, and that it's just like a really flavorful, fun, stylized, kind of silly John Wick type movie.
Mm-hmm. If Guy Ritchie did John Wick.
Yeah, it's a good time. Do you have to see it in theaters? Not necessarily. Should you watch it at some point? Most definitely.
Would you say it's better or worse than Stuber?
See, okay, I've never seen Stuber.
Okay, all right.
But I walked into this thinking, please don't be Stuber.
Okay,
and I think I avoided that.
It's you know what? That's fair.
Yeah, it's a good time. People should watch it. It doesn't really matter how you watch it, but I mean, support it obviously, but like, theater, you want to wait for it to be on streaming in a month. Check it out,
Nathan,
though.
Maybe we should go see that on Sunday since we can't see another movie.
What movie can't you see?
Well, I'm so glad you asked.
Have I been roped into a segue?
Yes, I set it up.
That was great.
So
I feel taken advantage of.
Here's the thing. We've been talking almost since the podcast came back about Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
Oh, no.
And something interesting happened where, we've been kind of monitoring. We're like, oh, do we see a release date? No, there's no release date. Oh, that's okay. They're going to announce it soon. And then we started seeing other countries getting release dates. And we got like the UK release date and the Canadian release date. And that's like September 27th. And, somewhere in the line, I had read that it was going to be the 27th in the US. It's now the 24th, and there are no showtimes for Hellboy the Crooked Man this whole weekend. Nothing has been announced. It's been going around Portugal, Turkey, Vietnam. It's coming out in Canada and the UK, in a couple days.
Apparently, it came out in Belgium in June?
Yep. Yeah. Way back in June. And the US has nothing. What does this mean? This may be getting like a direct to VOD release. They may be trying it in other places, but then do a limited release here in October. But October has Joker and a few other things, so that's not really strategic. This was kind of like the perfect weekend to do it, aside from the fact that Megalopolis is being shown now.
Oh yes, that's right. I have to go watch Megalopolis.
So yeah, on Saturday I'm seeing The Substance and Megalopolis, but The Substance is pretty much gone. Like, it's disappearing from theaters.
Oh no, don't say that. Shit, dude, I hate that.
Like it. So I'm having to go see it at like a 2-story tiny theater in Seattle on Saturday.
Fuck, wait, did I miss my chance to go see The Substance? I hate this shit, man.
I think if you can get to Marysville, I know Marysville has some, but it's like one showing in the evening, so it's bad.
Hold on, let me pull up my fucking Atom app. I really wanted to go see the motherfucker. I hate studios, dude. I want to give you money, motherfucker. Please. Please.
Well, the substance is getting cucked, and yeah, the Crooked Man is AWOL. The US is not getting any of it. It's been out for 2 months in Belgium.
Oh my god, one fucking showing? Okay,
yes.
No, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. All right, Thursday has 11:40 a.m.
Yes.
Okay.
Thursday is the last real day that you can see the substance in multiple showings.
Yeah, because starting Friday, just 10 p.m.
Yep.
That's ass. 10 p.m. Yep. I'm in bed, bitch.
And it's a 2-hour, 20-minute movie. So
it's really a 2-hour, 50-minute movie.
Yes. So.
God damn it.
I'm glad I caught you to let you know.
Thank you so much. I guess I have to redo my weekly plans.
But so there's that, and then the Crooked Man is just gone, and I think that sucks because obviously I had plans to see it, and I wanted to see it.
And we've been hyping it up for weeks.
Yeah, we've been hyping it up, and I'm literally editing a video now about the Crooked Man, and the Fictitious Dark was gonna do a rip to shreds on Monday, but we can't do that now.
But at least we can go see Deadpool and Wolverine.
We could. But I know Nathan said he said an interesting comment that made me a little bit less negative. He said, well, in a way, this makes it more like an indie movie, so it's more valuable now because now that it's been delayed and the US is getting it so much later, it's when it comes out, immediately people are gonna hopefully go to it.
It's so weird, because like you said, we've been talking about this since we restarted the podcast, and just from sheer lack of news and pretty consistent international release, this has quietly become one of my most anticipated films of the year, where I'm just when am I going to be able to see this?
Yeah.
So
it's so crazy how studios are crying that movie theaters are dying, and yet they won't let us watch movies.
Are the studios crying, or are the theaters crying, and the studios are we'll make those streaming deals, we don't care?
That might be it.
Well, I think that's all part of it, where the studios are already because I think nowadays you're lucky if you get I think 45-day theater exclusivity clause is the big one for movies, and then it's straight to streaming. So that's I feel so bad for movie theaters, man.
What's crazy is you want to think about people nowadays, it's hard to get them to go to the theater. There's a lot of reasons, but one of them is that they know that movies they'll be coming to VOD and or streaming within a month. And if you think about it, a movie that we've not talked about at all on this podcast, it's kind of weird that we haven't actually brought it up at least once. Inside Out 2 is the top grossing movie of the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I guess I'm not surprised, huh?
Yeah, it beat Deadpool Wolverine, it beat Dune. And I think it's actually becoming one of the top grossing animated movies ever. Grossing animated. Help. Animated, please. List of highest gross. Thank you.
I know.
It is now the top grossing animated movie of all time. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And
it's a family movie released with 2024 theater prices, so not surprising.
But a thing they did when it was gonna come out is that they announced this is gonna be in theaters for 100 days.
What?
Oh wow!
So they outright announced the length of time.
That's wild.
So there was no question of I'll wait a month and watch this at home with my kid. They were no, this is gonna be in theaters, and if your kid wants to see it, you're gonna have to take them to a movie theater.
And I know
it might have worked.
the time feels like it's accelerating more and more. But I do feel like back in the day, it would take at least 4 months for something to hit DVD and digital,
if not longer. Yeah,
100%.
like that's like that's a low, and it was like 4 to 6 months. And so you had to see something, or because it's like, well, I can't see Lord of the Rings until Christmas again.
Well, and that was like when
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's when it was like kind of weird to get a digital copy of a movie. Like there was that point where after like 5 or 6 months, it's like, okay, here's the digital release, and it's like, well, when's the physical? It's like, it's going to be like another month or two, and it's like, god damn, like, you know,
and then eventually it'll be on streaming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the streaming was just the cherry on top, you know, where it's like I've probably bought this movie by now, but on the off chance I haven't. I remember legitimately, this isn't even a movie that I think is particularly good, but the Robert Zemeckis Jim Carrey Christmas Carol, I remember came out, I think it was like 2010, around Christmas time. It was in theaters for like a month or two, and it was gone for legitimately, I think I was looking for it like in 2012 and it still hadn't come out. So like, you know, they used to fucking play the game, man.
Well, it seems just like, I know that a lot of what the studios bank on is the initial few weekends, the trajectory, but I hate to tell you this, but a lot of the time it takes a good amount of space for word of mouth to spread. You know, it takes a few weekends of, oh yeah, I mean, I got a dinner party on that Saturday, and I got all this stuff with my family, and I got this stuff with my friends. We're going to like do this and play pickleball, and then like, yeah, that third weekend I could go see it then, and then you're like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah, well, if it even survives, like, I mean, you know, there's some movies like Oddity, Cobweb, where it's like, I'll watch it week 2 and they're just gone.
Yeah, because I think there's a large portion of the audience that are also like, oh, I don't want to see it opening weekend because it's going to be crazy. And it's like, I'll wait until like the second or third weekend where it's quieted down a little bit, and like they don't have the patience for it anymore. And since it's this really weird case where Hollywood is kind of cannibalizing itself, because they have these streaming platforms that are not making money, so they're trying to get these big movies to get there quicker than they normally would, which is undermining the value that they have in theaters, so they're not getting as much viewing there. Before there was streaming services and there was the longer wait between theatrical and home media release, like a lot of movies could get like a second wind from the physical release because it had been so long and there had been enough time for word of mouth, and you know, everyone's buying one copy of the movie, and like, you know, that could be a huge boost. And now it's all like the window is so short, and streaming and theatrical release is just like fighting with each other to just dwindle your profits. It's so weird. This cannot be sustainable.
No, I'm surprised it's gone so long after the shutdowns as it is. Like, I remember during the height of the shutdowns, we were all predicting, yeah, movie theaters will be like done by 2025 or something.
Yeah.
So,
fucking hell.
But you know, if I may pivot to a few other things, I wanted to quickly run
through. Also, Inside Out 2, 8th highest grossing movie of all time.
Wow.
Okay. It's beating out Jurassic World at number 9 and The Lion King Reanimated at number 10.
Okay, there's some justice. But recently, I'll just run through a few films that I watched.
Please.
One of them, I know Nathan already added it, but if this sounds interesting to any of you, I watched this 1964 film, The Gospel According to St. Matthew, by Pasolini. He's the guy who did Salò. He did a movie about Jesus. It's really good. Like, just beautiful filmmaking. Just watch the first 5 minutes.
Salò, I can watch that on Disney Plus, right?
Shoot
Maybe.
this motherfucker.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
But very, very, like, just beautiful filmmaking. It's a it's a very tasteful yet very not quite art house, but definitely experimental take on the material. That great film, loved it. Another great film. I finally watched one of the last two Kubrick films I haven't seen. I watched Barry Lyndon, which came out in 1975, and he was working on a Napoleon biopic and doing all this research, and then the Waterloo movie in 1970 bombed, and so he was like, well, we're gonna just take all that and adapt this book, Barry Lyndon. And you know, thank God, because it's great. It's one of those movies where you kind of have a protagonist who is a bad person by the end of it, and it's a very depressing ending, but it's very quality cinema. Like it's like you're watching oil paintings moving. It's kind of incredible. There's scenes where there's a lot of the movie they couldn't use lights because they were in such old buildings, like actual historical buildings. They had to use candlelight, and so the only lighting is natural lighting from the candles and stuff. It's actually incredible.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's great. If you like Kubrick, you're gonna love the movie. You're gonna love it. It's also surprisingly funny at points. And then I know Sal added one of them. I saw it on Letterboxd. But there's this director. I don't know how I came across this, but there was this director. What was his name? Ollie Williams. And he did two short films I watched. The Black Hole, which is a guy in an office has a copy machine and he prints a black hole, and that's all I'm going to say.
I've seen that before. Oh, yes, shit.
Okay. Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys have probably seen it like years ago.
Yeah.
Fuck. But it was fun. I think I probably had seen it before now too, but I had forgotten. He did another one called The Fly. And it's not Cronenberg's The Fly. Think the Fly episode of Breaking Bad, but a short film and about a getaway driver.
Yeah, when I was reading the description of it, I was like, oh, this is not Cronenberg Fly, it's Breaking Bad Fly.
It's very funny. It's very like insane. It's just the Fly one was so well done that my Letterboxd review is just, I wish I made this.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, damn, all right, fair enough, let's go.
Yeah, it's good. It doesn't overstay its welcome for sure. And then I'll be quick. I watched a fan gameplay movie version of Alien Isolation. I liked it a lot more than the IGN cutscene thing they did. So that's probably the way you should consume it if you are not playing it. But I do advise you play it.
I'm trying, man. It's scary.
It is very scary.
It's scary, dude.
It's extremely scary. And then also, it's around that time of the year, so Katie and I have been rewatching Harry Potter. So I've watched the first two. And then I think I said that I would watch all 8, and then I believe I said that if I was allowed to get absolutely sloshed, I would watch Secrets of Dumbledore, because it's the one Fantastic Beasts I haven't seen. I'm not going to watch the first two, but I might watch that one if I can get sloshed.
3 is interesting. 3 has like a bad plot point, but everything else is kind of like, I kind of like the recasting of Dumbledore because Mads brings that like evil gay energy that is really important for that film, and it feels like they got the right Grindelwald for
the fourth Grindelwald, you know.
Yes. It's good. No, I'm one of like the 3 people that like the Fantastic Beasts movies, despite like everything. I acknowledge all of its faults, though, obviously.
Yes.
But I see like the third draft that could have been amazing if JK didn't just want to run for the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, for me, close only counts in horseshoes. But I just rewatched a Harry Potter musical and sequel, so I got the abridged version of the story.
Good. It's probably better anyway.
Good.
I am gonna be ranking those two in my list on Letterboxd.
Are you gonna watch Senior Year though, or have you already?
I watched it when it came out. I have never rewatched Harry Potter musical Senior Year.
Okay, that's
fair. I appreciate what they were doing for the fans. Like if you know, if you were at that con and you saw it, like that's amazing. I recently saw Red Curtain Foundation, a theater I've done work at. They did Firebringer, so Star Kids stuff is now out there. And you know what? I really enjoyed Firebringer, and I saw it live, so I got to see it performed as if I was one of the Star Kid audiences. So that's nice.
I'm really curious to see, because they've now done a trilogy of musicals, where the at least the songs, I forget if the stories were, but the music was all written by Jeff Blim, who kind of came in and took over. He was Sweet Tooth in Holy Musical Batman, and he was Aladdin in Twisted. He was like, to me, their new big guy after Darren Criss left and all that stuff. So I'm very curious to see his stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we all liked him. Well, you and I liked him a lot as Sweet Tooth, and
wow, just cut me out of that, why don't you?
Well, I don't remember us talking about that one. But I mean, who doesn't like Sweet Tooth?
Yes,
his puns are fantastic.
They are. I also watched Star Kid. I'm included in this conversation.
I'd have to rewatch, because I remember for the most part not really liking Holy Musical Batman, but Sweet Tooth was fucking hype.
Yeah, the first song is great. Sweet Tooth's great. I do need to revisit it.
Yeah, do the full retrospective.
Right.
Speaking of Batman, do you want to end on cape shit?
Sure.
So let's do some. Let's do two things before we jump.
I do like that Hellboy isn't counted as cape shit.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's an indie film.
In a way, one of these also isn't counted as cape shit, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So they have finally found, or they have a new person in talks for Hal Jordan for the Lanterns show.
Oh.
In our deleted Ghost podcast, I think we talked about how Josh Brolin dipped out. And there was a rumor that Matthew McConaughey also dipped out.
He was going to be Hal?
Yes.
Who was he going to be?
Hal.
Okay.
Now Kyle Chandler is in talks to play Hal Jordan.
Why don't we just not do Hal Jordan? There's plenty of other Lanterns, like, Jon Stewart, Kyle Rayner.
Well, they are going to be in it. It's a Lanterns show of multiple Lanterns.
I hear you.
It's apparently starting Hal and John.
Okay.
It's like a Lanterns cop show.
Listen, I'm a Jon Stewart.
So it'll be more tragic for John.
So that's happening. Or they're in talks to have him jump on. I don't think if they've casted a Jon Stewart yet, though. Lanterns show Jon Stewart. I misspelled John like a motherfucker.
Well, he's got the Jon, so.
If it was like 5 or 6 years earlier, I'd say Idris Elba, but I don't know if he could still do it.
I want Idris to be free.
I mean, Idris Elba would be good if you had Josh Brolin, because then they would be the two older versions of those characters.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes. Though Kyle Chandler, I don't know him from a lot, but he's how old is he? He's 59. Oh my god.
Yeah, so clearly they're going for an older Hal. And honestly, good.
Yeah, it makes sense because Josh Brolin's is 56, so they're obviously aiming for an older.
Yeah, that's their creative vision for it.
So I mean,
which makes sense.
Yeah.
There's some younger Lanterns that you can have be the younger characters, and then it balances all out.
Exactly. So the first trailer for Thunderbolts Asterix has come out.
Oh, okay. Fuck!
I didn't watch it.
That's okay. I watched it like twice. I'm technically watching it the third time, unfortunately, as the Twitter just auto plays it for me. Though I will say, okay, so all right. I am one of the few people that I think has a positive look at Black Widow. It helps that I saw it so far after release and after the Marvel like fatigue was huge with me that I didn't have a lot of negative association with Marvel at the time. And I saw it and I thought Black Widow was fun. I obviously don't like the David Harbour's character doesn't have an arc at the end. I mean, it's pretty lame. But obviously the standout for Black Widow is Florence Pugh's character Yelena. And happily watching the Thunderbolts trailer, she looks like she's the main character, which you should lean on Florence Pugh being your lead because she's fucking phenomenal. And can act really fucking well. So if you have her under contract, you might as well like put her in the star lead. Shame we couldn't get Black Widow to lead some movies, but here we are. It's fine. We fixed our mistakes eventually.
You know, one might say that that Florence Pugh would be an upgrade over Scarlett Johansson as the Black Widow. If the writing is true, we'll see.
I think technically, yes, given acting chops. Yes. 100%. She looks great in Thunderbolts. It also has David Harbour. It also has Bucky's in it. It also has Wyatt Russell as U.S. agent. I didn't watch the show he's from. I'm sorry. Yeah. That was when they announced 17 different Disney Plus shows, and I was like, I'll watch the Wanda one, I guess, because that looks the most interesting. And then it was for 3 episodes, and then it wasn't. So he's in it. It's like trying to redeem himself, I think. Then it also has like I think Taskmaster's in this. I don't know. No. I forget. And then it has a fucking Ghost from Ant-Man 2 and the Wasp.
Oh.
And they've completely redesigned the character, and they look a lot cooler, and they're actually like utilizing their powers in this. So character reset there. Good. Thank you. But the plot seems to be is it hold on, what's her name? Fucking bear with me. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is like the villain.
Oh, okay.
And I think she assembles this team, I think in the hopes to kill them, and they find Sentry.
Oh, okay. We're going with Sentry. I mean, it is like phase 5. So
yeah. And it seems like Bucky's kind of opposed to them, like working for the government, but it's clear from the trailers that at some point he'll not be with the government anymore, as Bucky likes to do. And it looks like, I mean, it's definitely, the joke can be made that it should be made that this is Marvel's Suicide Squad.
See, I was going to joke that it's Marvel's The Defenders. Oh, wait.
No.
Oh.
I mean, in a way, though, because it's so... Okay, so the thing about this is that, like, I am actually a little excited for this movie. Mainly because, like, I like a lot of the actors in this. I like Florence Pugh. Situationally, I like David Harbour. I like Sebastian Stan. I like Wyatt Russell. I like Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Technically, it has a good cast. Now, whether or not this hits is different story, obviously. But from the trailer, I mean, it looks better than a lot of recent things I've seen. It looks better than the fucking Minecraft trailer. The lighting is consistent. It looks like they shot this movie on, like, actual location and not on sets. Or if they had sets, they weren't green or blue. They were, like, built. Which I know shouldn't be a big ask, but apparently it is in this day and age, that I want to have a movie filmed on a fucking, like, either a built set or a location. And this film looks like a fucking, like, a movie for once. It has, like, depth in the color correction and the lighting. These are all...
that's good.
Listen, given Marvel, this is a step up. Given, like, the shit we've been through, this is like...
Who's the director?
That's a great question. Let me find out for you.
I was like, you're saying all these things that I'm really liking to hear, but
Jack Schreier, Robot and Frank. I've heard of that.
Oh, I've wanted to watch that.
Yeah, fucking a lot of music videos. They like grabbing those guys. Directed an episode of Shameless. Paper Towns.
Katie keeps telling me Shameless is good, so at some point I'll check it out.
I mean, yeah, it's got Jeremy Allen White.
Well, yeah. No, I'm sold.
So it looks like it's a guy that's done mainly music videos and some occasional television with a few features.
Cool.
But I mean, hey, hopefully, like, listen, I know it's easy to shit on Marvel, and you know, a lot of the times it's very well earned. I always want art to be good, so I look at this and I look at Thunderbolts with like, you know, open arms, open eyes. And, you know, it's kind of cool that it's a movie starring a lot of, like, forgotten / side characters hoping to kind of make a name for themselves. And that's kind of, if you think about it, like, what Marvel, the MCU, started out doing, right? Like,
it really did. It really did. They didn't start with, you know... I mean, yeah, they had Hulk, but that was the only one of Phase 1 who hadn't gotten... Actually, that's a lie. Captain America had several movies. But you know what I mean. Like, yeah, and Guardians especially, I think, is what they're trying. They keep trying to recapture that magic, you know?
Yeah, it does feel like this is sort of a Guardians approach where it's like, this is a group of characters that aren't, like, brand big names. Here they are. Here they have their own movie. Like, well, I mean, because the MCU started without their, like, core... Like, their big three, like, who are the big three you'd say for Marvel? It's like Spider-Man, Hulk, and Wolverine pre-MCU?
If you're talking about, like, the most well-known characters that Marvel has, I would say, yeah, definitely Spider-Man. Wolverine, I would say, because of the movies. Yeah, I would say so. I would say that's probably their three big ones.
So I'd say this.
If I had to pick them,
this is a fun.
Fantastic Four as well.
You know? Who?
Oh shit.
So well, they're a team, yeah. So it's
those people that fight Robert Downey Jr. You know.
Oh
shit.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, obviously, I'm pessimistic as always, but I think that with Thunderbolts, given the cast, given how the movie looks like a fucking movie based on the trailer. I'm interested. I'm not gonna watch the fucking Hawkeye show so that I know what Yelena's been up to. I'm not gonna watch the fucking Captain America Winter Soldier show so I know what US Agent's deal is all about. Sorry, you can't make me. Unless I'm like really bored one day, which I doubt it. But you know, I'm interested. I might wait a week or two to see how the reviews come in, but
you know, yeah, I don't think I'm in the past few years, I haven't been pessimistic. I've recently I've tried not to be, but I don't think I'm pessimistic about Marvel. I'm more apathetic, and I think the root is the irony that they've reached is that they made a cinematic universe that got too successful, and so now their main goal, their best bet would be to focus on doing just one-off good times, you know, like, and we see with like James Gunn, I hate to keep bringing it back to, you know, like, because it's too easy, but like with the Suicide Squad, that was just trying to be a one-off fun time,
yeah,
and it was a success, and it kind of washed the stain out of people's mouths of the original Suicide Squad. So, you know, maybe you're right, maybe this will turn out to be just a good time and people will go to it, you know.
Yeah, I'm interested. And to end on oh, sorry, Nathan, I apologize.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, you know, you always hope it's good. I think for me, I've emptied out and refilled the popcorn bucket too many times with MCU films. I can see there's a lot of mold on the bottom. I had to throw away the bucket. But you know, I think it is. They are in this weird place where I think this might be the most optimistic thing I can say about the MCU. I think that they are realizing that they have built themselves into a corner because the thing that they were able to hang their hat on is, let's take all of these separate movies and then boom, they come together. We have the Avengers. You know, it's this big crossover thing. It was very, you know, it was very innovative. It was very unique. But we now come to the point where this is going to be the 36th film, and there's now enough. The problem is when you make this many films with this many different writers and directors, inevitably, no matter how much you're a slut for superhero movies. Eventually, there's going to be some entries that are bad. There's going to be some entries that erode your interest. And then you start to lose momentum. So I think they're at this point where they realize they need to kind of extract these individual things away from this big connected issue so that you don't have people who go, oh, well, of course you didn't understand and respect how good Deadpool and Wolverine was because you didn't watch Loki season 2. And it's like, oh shit, yeah. I didn't realize that every single entry was still required reading for every new entry, you know?
Jesus. Shout out to that one comment. I love you.
Yeah, you know, fuck him. I hope that my hope would be, and again, you know, this is more general hope for people that are still hanging on. I don't know if they could ever win me back, but if they're smart, then the next 2 Avengers movies that have Robert Downey Doom will be like some big reset, and it'll be like, okay, if you'd like to start fresh, you can watch this first movie after the event, you know, pull a Doctor Who, you know, where it's like, oh, you want to start at series 5? You can, you know? You want to start at classic? You can, or if you want to watch season 1, you can, you know, just create some on points for people, because no matter how good your next movie is, it's not going to make me want to go back and watch the shit that I didn't have any interest in. That's too much to retrospectively make good.
The MCU is not very new player friendly.
No.
It's like Destiny.
Especially if they're not subscribed to Disney Plus.
I have one more Cape thing to end the podcast on. I watched the debut episode, the premiere of the Penguin show.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot.
Yes, it you know, it's funny. It's the thing that been kind of talked about for the past like 2 years, and then it sort of crept up on everybody, I think. On its release. But I watched the first episode. I've been very excited for this. I absolutely fucking love the Batman 2022. It's got to be one of my favorite superhero movies ever. I fucking think it's like fucking perfect almost in every way. I think it's goddamn phenomenal. So a show that's an extension that's all about the Penguin with Colin Farrell, get me in there, Chief. And I watched the first episode, and man, I love Batman Sopranos so much.
Okay, all right. If you're comparing it like that, now I'm interested.
Yes, it's I don't want to say too much for the first episode because I know you two have not seen it yet, and I don't want to like give you a rundown, but I will say it's cool, nice to watch a movie tie-in show that looks like it is shot with the same care as the movie. Obviously, there's 1 or 2 like city shots that transitions onto a set, where I'm like, I know that you went from a CGI to a set, but that's okay. And, you know, maybe like some shots I could tell it's Colin Farrell, where in the movie I couldn't tell. That's okay. Because that suit's gotta be heavy as fuck. And awful to wear. Especially the scene where he's naked.
Make it easy on him.
Yeah. But, yeah, it really does feel like... And I think I like about DC, what DC's doing with their Elseworlds, whatever the fuck they want to call it, like the Batman, like Joker, like other, like their animated stuff, is like they're letting people have their own takes on these characters separate from their main big boo-ha-ha, right? Which I think is nice because it leads to stuff like this where, you know, I know Matt Reeves has been pretty open with saying that his Batman series of projects are going to be not very fantastical. And I think I know some people hate that. I think it's kind of cool to have a interpretation of these characters in this story, in this setting, that is focused on the D in DC and less on the C in DC, the detective part of Detective Comics. And, you know, I know Matt Reeves has said that all 3 of his Batman films are going to be about like Batman solving a mystery.
The villains that he's listed, good choices.
Yeah.
Not really done.
And
Clayface, Professor Pig,
give me the
stuff.
Court of Owls.
Court of Owls. That's got to be where he's going.
He said that he can't talk about the Court of Owls.
Which means that they're in it. So
yes.
yeah.
And then you have the Penguin, which is like, focusing on the crime elements, which since if you think about Matt Reeves' Batman as being more realistic, like this is sort of it's pretty real. Like the Penguin's like a kind of upper middle mob guy who has his operation in Gotham and he wants to move up, but there's the big fancy crime family. He's from like the shitty suburbs and he wants to make it big, but he's has like everything betting against him. And it's fun because it's someone trying to rise to power in the crime world. And I think it's really well done so far. The first episode is only the first one out. They didn't do the typical, here's the first 3 episodes. Thank God it's just the first one.
Nice.
And I can't go deeper without like spoiling, obviously, but like, yeah, Clancy Brown's in it as Salvatore Maroni.
Good.
Thank God. They have
I was gonna say, I'm curious how in this first episode have you seen or have you already heard about the recast?
Yes. Yeah, so Carmine Falcone was played by John Turturro in the movie The Batman. If you haven't seen The Batman yet, spoilers, but his character dies in the Batman movie.
Yeah.
And for me, it's funny because he died when I went to the bathroom because it's like a 2-hour.
Yes. Yeah.
So when I watched it the second time, I was like, "Oh, that's how he dies. Cool." I
believe I had to like relay to you what happened. I'm like, bro, you left at the worst time.
I know. And when I finally saw it, I was like, "Damn, that's sick." In the show, Carmine is played by Mark Strong. In like eventual flashbacks and when you see him on like the news. And the reason why is because John Turturro was busy filming season 2 of Severance. And since it's probably not a lot of scenes, he's a lead in Severance. He would have been like in some shots of the Penguin.
Yeah.
Mark Strong's good.
It's understandable.
Yeah. I'd rather this than AI necromancy, so we're fine. It's okay.
Yes, please. John Turturro, don't sell them your likeness.
Please don't do it. So and also it has Sophia Falcone as one of the main characters, who is the Hangman in the comics.
Oh,
he's like a murdery type. And who else is in this fucking show? Yeah, it's all I know so far, but yeah, it's a fun like Sopranos, The Wire, crime HBO show, but it happens to be in the Batman world. I highly recommend it so far.
Yeah, I'll check out episode 1.
Then maybe next week we can talk about episode 1 and 2. And I think it's a typical 8-episode dealio, which that's a whole other can of worms that we've hit on before.
Yeah, I don't see. I did really like the Batman. I do think that my opinion has gone down upon subsequent watching in the 2 years since. I'd probably put it a little below Batman Begins or so in my hero ranking, but and I'm also just kind of conceptually having this mini series spin-off that is attached to a movie is a cool idea. Currently I can't think of a lot of examples where that's done very well. So that's
Dune
kind
Prophecy. Oh wait, that didn't come out.
Hey, we're not there yet.
So if this can serve as the proof of concept for it to work well, it sounds great. I don't know. As of now, I'm not chomping at the bit for it. Maybe when I hear more or when stuff about the Batman Part 2 comes out, and I'll be like, I should get caught up on the universe. But yeah, for now, I'm kind of like, I'm sure it's good.
I also know that the Batman movie has a spin-off Riddler comic, so I'll see it at the comic shop every now and again.
Oh,
That I think was partially written by Paul Dano, like taking like some of his like what he conceived as being the Riddler's backstory and actually like making it into a comic.
interesting.
Which you know, maybe if the Penguin is really good and I'm feeling the impulse buy, I might grab it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of that's our shuttle. That's our cast. I'd say everyone should check out the Penguin so far. It's just one episode, but it's fucking solid. I mean, you're following Colin Farrell for an hour in Penguin costume, so what's not to love, really?
I mean, he's great.
He's great. I know I've bitched before that like Italians need to play Italians, but I give him a pass.
It's fine. He's ethnically androgynous, you know.
Yeah, I also give Tom Clancy
okay
a pass for playing a Salvatore.
Yeah, that's all right.
He's cool. It's okay. It's cool when Clancy Brown does it. It's not cool when Chris Pratt does it. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, if Anthony Hopkins can be a Spaniard, you know, there's always going to be wiggle room amongst us whites.
And we just accept this. It's okay. It is kind of sad though that like even though Colin Farrell is a phenomenal actor, he does a great job in the role, and the outfit, the suit looks great. Like there's a scene in The Penguin where he's naked, and it's like, damn, that's just a fat guy. We used to have actors that just looked like that, you know?
Yeah.
We used to just have fat, balding Italian actors in movies.
Well, you know, let's hopefully take it as a sign that more and more actors are taking better care of themselves health-wise. You know,
Sure, that's what it is. Does our resident actor have a comment on that?
You'll have to reframe for the court again, and then I will give you my answer.
Thank you so much for listening to the Shuttlecast. I have been Sal.
I have been Josiah.
Uh-oh. Oh, God.
And I've been the Joker, baby.